You're listening to the Flip Houses Like a Girl podcast, where we educate, empower, and celebrate everyday women who are facing their fears, juggling family and business, embracing their awesomeness, and wholeheartedly chasing their dream of flipping houses. Each episode delivers honest to goodness tools, tips, and strategies you can implement today to get closer to your first or next successful house flip. Here's your spiky-haired, breakfast taco-loving host, house flipping coach, Debbie DeBeery.
Hey, I am so excited to be back here with you. So I took a bit of a hiatus in November, and sometimes you just have to listen to your body and your mind. And when they both are in alignment and telling you, hey, you need a break, guess what? You got to listen to it. It's so hard for us to do that. It is also equally so important for us to listen to our bodies, check in with ourselves, really see where our energy is and how we're feeling. Man, it's been a year, right? What a crazy year. And then with the elections in November, I needed a break. So I'm back. Here we are. We're doing this podcast episode, and you're going to love it because I'm interviewing one of my students who recently sold her first flip. All right, we're going to talk to Tammy Hollis here in a minute. But first, I want to do a listener shout out. Hey, thank you for taking the time out to let me know that what I'm doing matters and having a positive impact in your life. Thanks for letting me know. And also, reviews help other people, other like-minded women, find this little podcast of ours. So thank you for taking the time out to leave a review. This is by Dean, Texas. I'm a huge podcast listener. I think Debbie does a great job editing and providing rich information to us beginners of flipping houses. Lots of love to you, Debbie. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really do appreciate your feedback, and thank you. All right, let's get into this episode because there were all kinds of issues that came up. This is a business of problem solving, all right? They had survey issues, appraisal issues, subcontractor issues. They had timeline issues and budget issues. And guess what? In the end, they still made a profit. All right, let's get into this conversation. So how about we just start with you giving a little intro, like who you are, where you are, that kind of thing.
Okay, so Tammy Hollis, and in October of 2019, just past a year, I got married to my husband, David Hollis, in an old-time country wedding. I have two children, and they're both in their 30s, and my husband owns his own construction company for the last 25 years. So we both love doing this kind of stuff. So we decided at the end of the year last year that he would just start working for me and do our own business flipping houses, because I had actually done another house. I bought a house in 2009 and didn't flip it, but I'm renting it, and I actually lived in it while I fixed it up. And so my family actually lives in it now. So
awesome.
We both knew we loved this and knew we wanted to do it together because we love it so much, and we're so country and we like to put country stuff in it. And so if you've seen the pictures of our house, you see all that cedar everywhere, and everybody in the town loved it. So I think we've converted some people to the name of our business is Rustic Lantern Properties, and that fits us perfectly.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. And tell me where you live, because you live in Mississippi, but you flipped your first house in Memphis, right?
No, it actually was in Mississippi. We live in Holly Springs, Mississippi, and our first house was in New Albany, Mississippi, but that just was coincidental. We were looking in the Memphis, Mississippi, Arkansas area, and just happened to see an ad and answered it, and it was in New Albany. And my husband had actually lived there for about a year, I think. at one point in his life and another time in his life. And so he loved the town. So he thought, oh, this will be great. So that's why we jumped on that one.
Interesting. Okay. So you guys had already purchased the property. Had you started renovating it when you joined the program, or had you just purchased?
I think I joined in February.
Uh-huh.
And I bought the house in January.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So New Albany, I take it, is like just a neighboring area, not far away.
It is. It's 45 minutes from our house right now. And so it worked out good. And Memphis is further from our house. It takes me an hour to get to work every day when I was going into work. And, with COVID, I've been staying home. So that really has helped us. So we're still looking in New Albany for the next house too, because we love that town so much. It came with its own nuances, of course, but it's such a nice town. We really wanted to, and we just got a call today on a house that we put a bid in for 50K, I think, in the bank. It's bank owned, and they said they'll take 90. So we're going to go back over there and look at it and see if that's going to help us, or see if now that I've taken your class, and I have that spreadsheet to put everything into now, that's definitely the way to go. Not just, let's just guess how much this is going to cost.
Right? I know, but that's what we do. We're like, we'll be fine. But when you start putting in all the little numbers, those little numbers add up, sister.
They really do.
Yeah, I know. When I first got started, I wasn't using a spreadsheet, and I was like, oh, wow, that was forgot about that. Forgot to include carrying costs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, good. That's exciting. Keep me posted on that, because I'm super excited. I'm ready for y'all's second one. Okay, yeah. So let's get into the details on the first one, like purchase price, renovation budget, the timeline, that sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the first one, like I said, we found on Craigslist in Memphis, a guy, and it's a wholesaler that we purchased it from. Of course, at that time, I didn't know anything about wholesalers or anything like that. So I just thought he owned the house. Well, he didn't, of course. Mm-hmm. The house was, this is a funny story, I have to tell you. The house was actually $18,500 is how much we paid for it.
Wait, this flip that you just did?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it had a sister house with it that's right next door. On one side of it's the New Albany Elementary or Middle School. And on the other side, it was another sister house that was in just as bad or probably worse condition. And he was selling it as if we were going to get the first one for $18,500. But the second one we were going to get for like $13,000 because it was in a worse condition. And we were so stoked about that. Yeah. That didn't turn out. And we learned a lesson to not jump in and purchase something if you're really thinking that those two houses together being renovated would have been so much better than just the one. Yeah. And so we got kind of messed up on that. So we knew better. We'll know better next time for that one. Right.
Well, so hold on a sec. So he ended up not selling it, or he changed the price, or what happened on that?
The man that owned it is a family, and they've owned it for like, I don't know, 80 years or something. And his mom had, all this was in, I guess the one guy owned it, but his sister had a interest in it. Okay. And so, and her son, so actually his nephew, really wanted it.
Okay.
And so by the time we purchased his original house, then she kept him hauling around. I don't know if we want to sell it. I don't know. And we made them every kind of offer we could. We did all different kinds of things, all different avenues, from us redoing it all and them just paying us, to us giving them, $20,000 and then a piece of the profit. I mean, we tried everything and it just didn't work. And so since then, what they've done really, what we found out was they really saw what we were doing with this house, and they knew their house would be worth more money when they redid it. Even if they didn't do it to the standard we did ours, they would have been worth more money. So that's what they're choosing to do. So we learned a lesson on that one, buddy. But what was funny is the first time, this is David and I's first house, right? Yeah. And so we go into the negotiations and we're talking to the guy, and he says, and David says, well, how much do you think it's going to be worth? And the guy said, well, what do you want to offer me? And I'm looking at David and he's looking at me, and he said, I think about 15,000. And I said, oh, really? And he just knew for sure I was going to come in lower. And I said, I think it's about 18.5. And he's like, okay, wait, that's not how we do this. Now on, if your husband says something, you don't go above that amount, you go below the amount. So that was our first experience with buying an actual house.
And
so
it worked.
it was too funny.
Yeah. And
so
yeah,
he kept my offer, of course.
Your way worked.
But you know what? Just listening and trying to learn, I felt like it was worth that.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to miss out on it.
Hey,
and so I thought, I'm going to give him a fair price.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. It's not worth it over a couple grand. And if a couple grand is going to kill the deal, it's not a good deal. Right?
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So 18.5 was the purchase. Yes. And then what was the reno budget in the end?
Okay, in the end, because we kind of went off board on there too. But totally we spent for costs of everything, not including what we paid David, in a salary kind of thing. We paid we had expenses of $108,000.
Okay,
and then that was part of the reason I was going to ask you about a lot of people, they do their own work, right? And they don't pay themselves, or they get the profit at the end. And so that's why I split that out. So 108,000 was the reno part of it, including fees and everything. We had a really good deal with our bank, but and then we gave at some point, David was about 20% of that for his labor being over there.
Got it. Okay.
And so really it was a total of about 130,000 altogether.
Okay. And then, so that would terrify people, right? They would think, oh my gosh, if I'm paying $18,500 for a house, how on earth can I make it work by putting $130,000 into it? Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what was your sales price?
Well, and this is the ultimate sales price was $155,000. Mm-hmm. And we got messed up there again because I know I mentioned it in the group about the below grade and above grade.
Yes.
So that really hurt us. Yeah. It made a difference of about $20,000 in the value of the house.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Because a lot of people don't know that, and so I think that would be that's a great thing to let people know. Okay, so you were under contract to sell. I mean, quickly, right? Yep. It went under contract so fast. And then they were getting a bank loan. And so their appraiser came out, and y'all had finished the basement, right? Like when you bought it, it wasn't finished, and then you guys finished it, but it's a walkout basement. So,
well, wait, so originally the house was only 5 rooms. It had a kitchen, one bedroom, 1 living room, and 1 bathroom. And it had like a little porch area that was falling off that had a washer and dryer area, but you couldn't put one in there when we bought it. So what we did was we moved the kitchen, we made it a master bedroom, and we built a new kitchen off where that porch was. But that was up in the air, like it was above ground back there in the back of the house, right? So we kept the living room in the front of the house. And then we said, okay, we're going to blow out the back of the house and build a kitchen. And so then we were talking to realtors about, well, wouldn't it be better to compare this house to a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or should we leave it? We'll make it a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house. And so we ultimately agreed with them. We talked to 2 different realtors about what we were going to do. So what we decided to do was put in a spiral staircase down to the lower floor. So when we built the kitchen, we just said, you know what, another foot of dig out and we could put a bedroom down here. And so we did. So we created that new bedroom. So now it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, big, great room home. And both the upper and the lower decks have wood decks off of them. So, but the problem is neither one of those realtors had ever heard of this. But when the appraiser came in, he gave me, it was $95 a square foot for all the area above the ground. And even though only about 25% of that lower floor had a part of the ground attached to it, right? Because it went downhill, it was a slope.
Right.
They considered that below grade. And so he priced it out as a finished basement, even though it had a huge closet in it, had a big back door that went out into a big deck and all this stuff. And so we wound up getting, $95 a square foot for the above grade and $45 a square foot for below grade.
Ugh.
So that really crushed our numbers. And so we originally sold the house for 165 within 12 hours. The first girl that saw it said, I want it. I'll give you 165 for it. And we were only asking 159.
Okay.
So 159.5, I think it was. And so when this came back, it came back at 155. So we said, okay, we'll sell it to you for the 155 because we could have gone another route and said, if anybody wants to give me more than what the appraiser says it's worth, that's fine too.
Right. It's a risk.
But we just said, we'll sell it to you for 155. We can pay no closing cost. And so she said, I'll take it anyway.
That's awesome. Thank goodness. Right. Here's the thing. This is what I see happen a lot of times. I don't know. Maybe it's just more like, maybe being stubborn. So my thing with offers is the first one is typically the best, right? I always try to make that first offer work. So you saying, all right, we'll do it at 155 versus, you know what? Forget that. We can find somebody who will pay cash, 165 cash. We don't even have to worry about an appraisal. Right. But the trade-off is more time, likely, right? More stress versus this is a done deal. I will take the done deal and take 10K less all day.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Maybe in the past I would have been like, nah, forget it. I'll gamble more. And now I can't do it anymore. I can't. I'm just like, nope, I just want in and out. Let's just keep that forward momentum going. That's such a great point. That below grade, gosh, right. That'll get you.
And they said it's that the New Albany area there are not very many homes like that. And so no one had ever even thought about that or seen that. In other areas where you do have a lot of basement areas, then they don't do that. They consider them just a regular basement if it has a closet and all that good stuff,
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
Definitely hard lesson learned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because right there was 10,000 off our profit, right?
I know that's.
So, yeah, that hurt us.
And so let's see, you closed last week? Yeah. Last Tuesday. You closed last Tuesday. Okay. So, it's time to get out. It's time to get out.
Yeah. Amen.
I'm with you. Okay. So what did your net profit end up being?
It was only 6,900, I think.
You know what? That's so great. That seriously, after everything you went through on this house, all of the delays, that stuff with the appraisal, the survey stuff, which we haven't even talked about yet.
I know.
And almost a year, you still made $6,200.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's crazy. That really is.
Yeah.
You know what? Do you want to talk about the appraisal stuff? Survey?
The survey stuff, yeah. And it turned out to be nothing. And your whole team, everybody always says this, we always stress to the max on all this stuff. And then it turned out to be nothing. She used a rural housing development loan, government loan, is what she used. And so they required a home inspection, even though you didn't have to get everything fixed. That wasn't what they were doing. They required an appraisal, which was they had to bid it out, which caused more of a delay, right? Because they put it out, then they'd make a bid and all that stuff. So that caused some delay. And then you had to get the survey done, right? Mm-hmm. So when I had originally, when I first bought the house, I went to the county office and got a copy of the survey. So I knew immediately there was a problem. In January, and I called the title company, the lawyer, and said, wait a minute, this shows my property, my house, and the plats for the county. It's between two plat lines. So lot 3 and lot 4 ran straight through my house. Well, the other side of my house was owned by the school. Part of lot 3 was owned by the school, part was owned by me. But then my house on 4 I owned half my house and all of my neighbor's house.
So weird.
And so it's because it was so old in that area, that subdivision, when they redid it, they didn't redo the plat lines to go along with the property lines. So luckily, the property lines that they were billing you for were right. so, that's how you get tax assessors, right? They do the property line, not the plat line. And so what was weird about it was I went to, an attorney. He showed him the pictures, exactly what I put on our website, for the Flip House Like a Girl thing. And he said the same thing. He's like, oh Lord, this is going to take you a long time to fix. This is a problem. I was like, I know. So then I went to 2 survey companies and they both said, oh, this is going to be a problem. Well, it turned out that we got the first survey guy called us and said, okay, this is so messed up. I'm going to have to do 4 different property survey in order to get your one property right. I was like, oh Lord, and who's going to pay for all this
Right,
stuff?
that's like $2,000 easily.
Yeah, there's no reason. And he said, oh, you can go to the other property owners. I said, there's no reason for them to pay it. They have no interest in me selling this house. They're fine with it the way it is. So anyway, so then I scurried around to find another place, another survey, and I went to a local person, and she, the buyer picks the survey person, right? And so the survey person. So I picked this guy. I was like, I'm just going to go to this one. He's nearby, blah, blah, blah. So he looked at it and he said, yeah, this is a problem. So then as it turned out, when he went over there, pulled all of his paperwork from the county and all that stuff, and he was looking at the property lines, he called me and he said, Tammy, there's no problem with this. Your property lines are right. So all he did was laid out the property lines for the survey, and then the lawyer took that and just put it in the paperwork at the county courthouse.
Got it.
And so I had told, because they charged us, the survey person that she picked was only going to charge $500. Well, not when he had to do 4 of them,
right?
But yeah. So then I went to this guy, and he said it'll be about $800 to $1,200 because it'd be a little bit more difficult. That was his thought process. Well, turns out it was so simple. He only charged me $500. Oh, and I told the buyer, well, if it's anything more than what you had agreed for that other guy, I'll pay for it. No problem. This is not your problem. This is our problem. I knew about it from the very beginning of the purchase, and I should have fixed it long before now. So he turned out he only charged $500. So then I said to the lawyer, anything over and above that you have to do to fix this mess, I don't want to charge her, because remember, she's paying all closing costs, right? Because we went down to $155. So turns out it was nothing to it. So they didn't charge us anymore. So the whole thing went perfectly well. It was so awesome. It worked out great. All that heartache.
Oh, I hate that.
All that stressing. I called everybody and their mother that wanted to hear this story, and those that didn't want to hear it, I was still telling it. I was just like, oh my goodness, this is such a mess. I thought I was going to have to file a claim against the title insurance, and I didn't have to. None of that happened.
So they weren't looking at the property lines. They were looking at the plat lines. That's what
the plat lines. Right. That's that picture that I put on our website is the plat lines. You would think those would have to be right.
I assumed those were the property lines. That's what I assumed when I looked at it. Oh my gosh, Tammy, thank goodness.
Yes. That was a mess, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was like, oh, she's closing? Well, honestly, I was like, how did that happen? Like, how did that get so fast? So I'm super, I love hearing how that turned out. That was such an interesting, crazy part of your journey.
For sure.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So your husband acted as the GC.
Yes.
But you guys subbed out some work that there were some issues getting people to come and do some things. Is that right?
Right. And so in New Albany, you have to be a licensed everything to do the work, right? And since my husband had been in his construction company, he was able to get the framing license and all that stuff anything with wood he can do. He was fine to do that, all that. So he took the test, he got all that. But like the electrician, plumber, all that stuff, all had to be, licensed people. But it's such a small town. It was so great to work with all those guys at the building inspectors, and all that stuff were so excellent. So that was no big deal. It's just, and how we got some of that's how we got the people to work for us, was through the building inspector. All those people told us people that they've seen done other work. And then those people gave us, like the painter and all that stuff. They just gave us people that they'd worked for. One painter, stole some of our stuff, and he would take home paint. And I think we kind of learned that you can't just leave these guys to do honestly what they're supposed to do. So David would just say, "Hey, here's some paint," and he would come home because he'd be done for the day. And then those guys would walk away with the stuff. And when we finally got smart to it, we were like, "Okay, well, we got rid of them and went on to something else." But and then sheetrock guys, the same story. It's just a different house, right? And so we learned that you really have to watch these guys, and that's sad, but you just have to. It's the truth of the matter.
So what I love is that these things, like, it went longer than you thought. It was more expensive than you thought. Weird survey stuff came up. Appraisal stuff came up. And here you are waiting for word on your next offer. Like, thank you.
Exactly.
Like, that's the whole point is let's just do it in a way that makes us want to do the second one. And then so on and so on. And it's never going, rarely will you have one that is just all rainbows and unicorns. Rarely. And when you do, you're like waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? You're like, okay, what something massive is about to happen.
Right.
Something
Exactly.
terrible is going to happen. And really, it's just solving problems. That's all we do. We just solve problems. And if you enjoy solving problems, you'll be fine. But if a problem totally rattles you and paralyzes you into inaction, that's when it's like, maybe flipping houses isn't a great avenue for you. Maybe something else in real estate investing. Okay, so let's see. In terms of surprises, I think we've touched on all of them. Do you have any other surprises that we haven't talked about?
No, those are the key things that happened that were total shocks for me and really everybody else that was around us. Other professionals wouldn't have done us any, didn't do us any good to consult other people. So those are the main pieces of it.
Okay. And then I did want to go back to, you briefly touched on it, but you found the house on Craigslist?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I just happened to be looking because David and I had talked about it. Our wedding was over. We were like, let's start looking for new houses to do. Because during the wintertime, David's his construction company is geared toward and specializes in outdoor kitchen.
Oh, got it.
Kinds of things. So it was more of outdoorsy, woodsy kind of stuff still. And so it slows down during the wintertime months anyway. So we were like, we're ready to start going and looking at houses to start the new year off good. And so we just called on this one. It was actually an old ad. And I called the guy and he said, well, I decided I wasn't going to sell it. I was going to keep it. And he said, but now I think I am going to sell it, because then he turned out his wife was going to have a baby. So we called it just the right time. We went over there and got it that same day.
So isn't that amazing? Because here's the thing. People assume if it's been on there, if it's an old ad, nope, it's not a good one.
Exactly.
Yep, you're going to skip right over it. And you're totally missing it. You would have totally missed that your first flip right there. Okay, so you called the guy and went over there and visited with him?
Yep. He had already cleaned out a good bit of the junk that was in there, but of course it was a total four big old cans of stuff came out of there still. But it was really halfway decent when I saw it anyway. Yeah. And so we were super stoked about it, because it was exactly what we were looking for at the time. Now we're not looking in that direction. Now we're looking for more of the stuff that's not a total redo. Yeah. Because we need something easier at this point, not too easy. I mean, we're still talking about tearing down walls and things like that, but not where weather could impact the progress so much this time. Maybe later, but not right now.
Got it. Is weather a factor there?
Well, that was for 3 months. We couldn't even work on the house, but that's because, we were adding that kitchen. So we had to wait till it stopped raining long enough to pour the concrete to even get started on it. And it was January, February, March. All those are bad time months. Okay. Or February, March, April, really. So we got started a little bit at the end of March. So that's when it kind of got started. But that was the huge delay there. But then if you think about it, if we really started, let's say April 1st, so then we sold it August 13th, that's really a very short kind of period of time, right?
Oh my gosh, that's right. Okay, because you were under contract for that long with the stuff.
Yeah. Okay. And so for 4 months, we got finished with it in 4 months, and we had redone a whole kitchen and a whole bedroom underneath there and all the other rework that had to be done. So really, we did it fairly quickly. Right. It's just August 13th, we sold it, and we didn't sell it. We got a contract on it August 13th. but it took us this long to get everything resolved that we needed to get
Oh
resolved.
my gosh, 4 months.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
4 months waiting for the closing.
Almost as long as it took to build the stupid thing.
I know, right? Oh my God.
But you know what, Debbie, and just like you always say, something always comes out of something that if you just keep going ahead. And one of the lawyers that I'd called a real estate agent in Memphis and was talking to her about the issue with the plat lines and all that stuff. And she said, let me get you with my lawyer that handles all of my dealings in Memphis and her sales. And so I did. I called him. Well, the good thing about it is somebody, he worked for a man whose father just died, and he was a hoarder, so he's got a lot of stuff to clean up in there. But his son was wanting to sell the house and had asked that lawyer, who is a good real estate agent, to call to help him sell the house. And he called my real estate agent, and she called me. And so she was like, oh my gosh, Tammy, this is a great flip house and a great neighborhood in Memphis. So when he has since kind of looped out a little bit on that. So she just gave me his name, and she said, you call him, you see if you can do something with it. So I went over there and just sat in front of his house trying to get up the courage to walk up there. And just about that time, my daughter calls me and she says, Mom, what you doing? I said, well, I'm stalking a man. I'm scared to walk up to his house. And she said, get your rear end out of that car and go out there and talk to him. What can he say? No. So I got my happy little butt up and I went up there and knocked on the door. I was like, you don't know me, but I'm looking at buying houses in your neighborhood. And he talked to me, and we're supposed to go see his house sometime next week, and we'll see how it goes.
Like, who would do that? See,
I know, you got to have the guts.
But that's the point. But that's the point. Like, if you're not willing to do that like uncomfortable things like that, that's the whole point. You have to be willing to do the uncomfortable things. Like, who thinks, oh, I really want to go do this.
Right. Exactly.
Right. You do it a couple times and you're like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. But definitely the first time going up to some rando's house and you're like, I don't know, like this can go several different ways. I hope it goes in a way that's not scary.
Exactly.
Kudos to you for being able to do that. And that doesn't surprise me, because when you first joined, I remember you messaging me and you had reached out to somebody about the property, and she lost her marbles on you.
She did. Like, it was crazy.
Not just crazy, but mean.
I know. So that plays a part in my mind every time I approach somebody. It absolutely has to. But hopefully, with the more that turn out like this guy did, which was super nice, it'll get that more further back in the back of my mind, and I won't have to deal with that anymore. But yeah, that's always a scary thought.
Yeah, because you really never know. You never know what that person's going through. You never know when you're catching them. Kudos to you. Like that's awesome. Okay, so the house that you're hearing back on, or they came back at $90K, is that a separate house from these two?
Yeah, that's the one that's in New Albany. This one I'm talking about is in Memphis, and it's really a better deal. We think we can get it for 100, but the neighborhood is selling for 300 and 400 houses. Houses over there, and so that's why the real estate agent said this is going to be a fantastic flip if you can get it. Yes. And so I'm really wanting that house. So now I'm like, dadgummit, and so we'll see. But this 90K is in a hard neighborhood because it's a huge house. Okay, I mean huge. It's got 8 bedrooms. It's crazy. Oh, wow. And it's just poorly laid out, and so we'd have to do a lot of work. But to pay 100, you'd have to get good money for it. And in that neighborhood, there are beautiful homes over there. It's on a different side of the track than our other house. So we don't really like that, but they're beautiful homes, but then not too many sell. It's those kinds that people live in forever. Yeah. And they're beautiful, but you can't get any comps for it. You don't know what it's going to sell for because not that very many houses sell over there.
Yeah, that's scary.
The ones that are selling over there are smaller, much smaller. And like you said, you can't get that same, don't expect you're going to get the square footage price.
Oh my God.
Because you're not.
I'm so glad that all my words, people actually listen sometimes, because that's an important one, honestly, because people get so hung up on this price per square foot thing that they don't understand that it's only if you're comparing a 1,200 square foot house and a 1,200 square foot house. If you're comparing a 1,200 and a 2,800, they are not going to get the same price per square foot.
Exactly.
People don't, they get stuck on that, but they don't understand the mechanics behind it. And it's like, no, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. I don't ever even think about price per square foot. Because it can be dangerous. Okay, let's see. Is there anything that I haven't touched on?
Well, my husband, I was going over the questions with him, and he said, I was reading all the questions that you'd sent in the email, kind of giving us something to think about, kind of deal. And one of your questions was, what was your favorite part of the entire flip?
Yeah.
And he quickly said, doing it with you. So I was like, oh, I'm going to have to tell her you said that. And it really was.
That's awesome.
We did super good to be a newly married couple. And it comes with its challenges because you live with that person, right, and you want it. You can't always bring your frustrations and things like that home. And he was doing a lot of the work. I mean, he was spending day in and day out over there. And I would go over there once a week because, I'm working full time. And so I'd go over there and I'd say, oh, this isn't going to work. You're going to have to redo this. And he would just say, all right, I'll do it. And he did it. And we never had one single discrepancy. Now, I did find out that a couple of things I said, oh, I don't really like that much. He just did it anyway because he thought it was a good idea. So, you know what? We have to give and take. And that's what I did. And so I was like, okay, then I win this other argument, but other discussion. It never was an argument, but it really worked out good. It was fun to do with him, and I'm looking forward to the next one to do with him.
That's awesome. I mean,
yeah, it was really a good experience.
That's so great. Okay, so is he doing his outdoor kitchen still, or he didn't leave that?
He's done a couple of them. He only does the ones that are, has a lot of money in them, I think, at this point, because he needs to be ready for us. He doesn't need to get on a 3-month project and us find a house.
Right.
So we have to balance that with because we're just thinking we found that house fast. Right. How quickly are we really going to secure the next one and get it ready to start?
Yeah.
And so luckily, if we do it in New Albany again, we'll have the guys that are ready to do it because they've worked with us. They know we pay good, we pay on time, that we know what they do and what they don't do. Since the lady next door was redoing her house, we found some really good guys that are did all her work for her. We've seen their progress as they've done. So we now have people for demo work and paint and sheetrock and all that, and we've been able to see their work. So it's gonna work out so much better, and they're looking forward to working with us. And so I think I'm hoping we get it fast, but if we don't, that's a tougher situation, but we're going to do what we can do. Because I've heard how long it takes them to find another house.
Tammy, are they doing what you're doing?
Well, I don't know.
Honestly, are they calling leads on Craigslist? Are they going and sitting in front of this man's house and walking up and knocking on the door? Because most people aren't going to do that. Their fear gets in the way. And your desire to do the thing has to be bigger than the fear. The fear is always going to be there. There's this whole thing about being fearless. I think it's such a farce because I'm not fearless. It's there. There's always some sort of fear there, but you just got to do the thing anyway, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So that's a big difference. You're doing things that a lot of people wouldn't do. So I don't think it's going to take you guys long at all. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing all the things. You're going to be fine. I mean, you kind of have like 3 potential-ish deal. Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You got some things cooking.
Now, would we have done things differently? Probably. This first girl got she got a good deal because I think we overspent for sure. From listening to the ladies on the, Sissy and Christina and all those nice women on the show or on the podcast or the Facebook page, we paid a lot of money for a lot of stuff and that we didn't need to. So we've learned a lot, and we're going to use more of your spreadsheets. Even though it's not for my area, probably the pricing and things, we've made some adjustments to it so that it is for our area.
That's perfect,
and that way we can, make a quick assessment of what it's going to cost us to do some stuff and where we should be. We shouldn't pay $5,000 for standard cabinets, because they have the little soft close doors. Well, I found out you can buy those soft close hardware at Lowe's for like $1.50.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay,
Soft close.
wow, yeah. And so we've learned a ton about that, and the pricing and things. So I think that's really going to help us. But we thought the house was only 1,520 square feet, and when they did the appraisal, it turned out 1,620 square feet. So it was another 100 square feet. Yeah, so it was a big, I mean, she got she got a really good deal. A lot of expensive stuff went into this house. We still made money. So, and it was our goal.
Right.
And our biggest thing, David kept saying, we're flipping it, not living it. And so it's like, still, but for me, I wanted it to be nice, and I wanted it to be something somebody could be proud of. And I know now that we could do just as nice and not spend as much money, and so we definitely learned there.
Yeah. Yeah. I quickly became an online shopper for like all stuff, like materials and finish out stuff. And I just have spreadsheets that I just like every now and then I'll go back through and I'll search for things to see who's got the best deals on what right now. And because every little penny and dollar, they just add up.
They really do. They really do.
You're saving them in multiple spots. It's like, oh God, it feels good. Well, the house is, I mean, it's just, you guys knocked it out of the park. It's gorgeous. That lady did get a very nice property for that price. I mean, wow. I'm super excited to see y'all's second one. I know y'all are going to be in it in no time because you're doing the things that most people won't do to go find a house. I'm excited. So I don't want to keep you too much longer. I think we touched on everything. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you want to make sure gets said?
No, I just want to encourage people to do what their passion is, and that, thank goodness I met a man whose passion was the same as mine, and you can do this. You can do it. And yeah, we only made 6,000, but we made, I can say we made this money, and we learned a lot in the process. And I'm no doubt we will do better with the profit lines next time, but still be just as proud of the product. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually thinking about, because a little bit of the trouble that we have with the rural housing development is forced, lower income families that have a really good credit score, but they don't have the money to get in and all those kind of nuances. And I'm really interested in helping people do that. It's for the same reason that like a lot of kids don't go to college, because they really don't know the avenue to take to get there, because you can do it without owing money. You can make it through that. And I think it'd be interesting to get into that neighborhood or that niche that we can benefit and show somebody how to get into their own home, because that's the dream of everybody, is owning your own home and being proud of what you have and taking care of it. And so I'm curious to see if we can investigate that a little more and go down that path a little, because if the Memphis area, it is a lot of lower income people, and that they still deserve to live in a great house,
right? A safe, clean house. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Amen. I love that. I love your heart. I'm so glad that we crossed paths, and I'm so glad that you're here in the space and we get to be part of your journey.
Thank you for all of that you've done. Your program is amazing. I really have learned a ton. Even though I did it a little bit backwards, I still learned a ton that I'm definitely going to move forward with it. And all the things that you teach us. So thank you so much.
Like that's the whole point, is that you want to do a second one and keep going. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for this call, because like just knowing all the stuff that happened along the way. I mean, I just know that at some points you would get on calls and you'd be like, I'm over it. He's not listening. I'm over it. This guy didn't show up. We'll see if he shows up next week. Like all this stuff. And it's like, oh my gosh, hang in there. I just want to be like, hang in there. I promise it gets better.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing your story. I know that it's going to inspire other people, and especially like people in smaller markets who think, oh, I can't do that in this market. Yes, you can do it in any market. Absolutely. So
yep.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you so much, Debbie.
All right. I'll see you in the group.
Okay.
Bye. After all of those trials and tribulations, she wants to do the dang thing again. That's the point. That is the point. And here's the thing. If you're wanting this to be smooth sailing, easy peasy, no issues, no problems to solve, it's not the right business for you. If you're okay with problems and you can jump into action and just solve them, you're going to fit right in. All right. You'll love it. Okay. You can do this in any market. If you want to do this, you absolutely can. All right. Okay. You need to get on the wait list because I'm telling you, the women inside the program are rocking. We've got so many flips happening right now, and the energy is amazing. The community is amazing. We are getting things done. All right. Come join our party. It is so much more than just flipping houses. Get on the wait list at firstflipdoneright.com. All right. It doesn't matter if you've done 80 flips or you've done 0 flips. Get on the wait list and come hang out with us. You'll love it. I promise. All right. Until next time, go out there, flip houses like a girl, leave people and places better than you find them, and make it a